Hello students, today we are going to talk about a carbon dioxide laser. A carbon dioxide laser is a very popular laser and it is a molecular laser. What is the principle behind the carbon dioxide laser? Let us have a look at it. The transition between the rotational and the vibrational energy levels of a CO2 molecule leads to the construction of a molecular gas laser. Here, the nitrogen atoms are raised to the excited state, which in turn deliver energy to the CO2 molecules, whose energy levels are close to it. That is the reason it is selectively populating the CO2 molecules by nitrogen molecules. The transition takes place between the energy levels of CO2 molecules and the laser beam is emitted. You can see here the properties of a CO2 laser. It is a molecular gas laser. The active medium is CO2. N2 and helium and H2O vapors are present in the gas mixture. Active centers act in CO2. Active centers are the centers where the energy transition takes place and the lasing takes place. Then pumping method taken here is again electric discharge method, and the optical resonator cavity comprises of gold mirrors or silicon mirrors coated with aluminium. This power output laser can be up to 10 kilowatts, so it is a very powerful laser, and the nature of output is continuous or pulsed as desired. The wavelengths on which it can laser is 9.6 micrometers or 10.6 micrometers, where 10.6 micrometers is the prominent wavelength on which it lasers. Now we can have a look at the energy levels of CO2 molecules. Why I said that it is a molecular laser? You can see here that here it is a molecule, then there is an electron associated, in between there is an atom, or then there is an electron associated with it, and the electron has three stages and they are rotational and translational stages. So in CO2 molecule you can see the energy spectra is complicated, as each energy level is associated with equally spaced vibrational levels, and each vibrational level in turn has a number of rotational levels. Now what does it mean? Basically we see a molecular vibration modes. There are three modes of vibration. That means a CO2 molecule can vibrate in three modes, which are given as below. The first one is symmetric stretching mode. The red one you can see represents the C carbon, then carbon atom, then the yellow represents the oxygen atom, and then it becomes a CO2 molecule. Now you see here the stretching mode, it is a stretching, bending mode, then the asymmetric stretching mode. Why we call them so? Let us see. Here you can see, when you say a stretching mode, you can see the oxygen atoms are pulling the carbon atom at either side, right to right and left to left. So this is a 100 stretching mode. And again you see the bending mode, where what happens, the carbon atom is pulled by the oxygen atoms by bending them. This comprises of 010 and 020 energy levels. Sorry. Then there comes the asymmetric stretching mode, where the symmetry is asymmetric in stretching. You can see that one oxygen pulls it in its direction, the another oxygen pulls the carbon molecule in another direction. So this comprises of 001 and 002 energy levels. Now you can have some example. Basically this is carbon chemistry, but we have some idea about it. A CO2 molecule is a linear molecule with carbon at the center and the two oxygen atoms attached to either side of it. This molecule undergoes 3 independent vibrational oscillations known as vibrational modes, as we have already discussed, and these vibrational degrees of freedom are quantized. That means each vibrational mode is quantized, and the energy states of the molecules are represented by 3 quantum numbers. That is what we have shown: 00100, 010, 020, and 001 and 002. So this defines the energy levels of the molecule by the 3 quantum numbers m, n and q, representing the amount of energy associated with each mode. Now, besides the vibrational mode, there are rotational modes also associated with it, and they are given as in the figure. You can see the carbon dioxide molecule can rotate in clockwise direction in this way. This is the industry diagram of a carbon dioxide laser. Here you can see the 2 optical resonator cavities, the glass tube, CO2, N2 and H2 and helium mixture, gas mixture is being pumped into the system, and finally the simplified CO2 laser model you can see here. This diagram is made by me to simplify. This is a glass tube you can see, and the glass tube is connected with a water jacket to cool the glass tube. Then you have the optical resonator cavity and a brevistor window. This brevistor window is meant for the laser to come out in a polarized manner. As you might have studied the brevistor windows, you can see every time a gas mixture is being filled in the tube with a definite pressure, and the used gas mixture comes out of the tube. The gas mixture is ionized by the power supply. You can see the anode and the cathode in the diagram. These are the energy levels of the CO2 molecule. You can see here clearly, as I have specified the energy levels. You can see the nitrogen is pertinently, by collisional excitation, the nitrogen atoms are pertinently populating the carbon dioxide, and you can see it is the 001 level, the energy is transferred to the 0001 level. Then if there is a transition from 001 to 100 level, then it is a 10.6 micrometer laser. But if there is a transition from 001 level to 9.6 to 020 level, then there is a 9.6 micrometer laser. Whereas the other transitions, that is from 100 to 010 and from 020 to 010, are non-laser transitions. And finally, the collisional de-excitation, the atoms or the molecules of the carbon dioxide are reduced to the ground level. Now here is the construction of a CO2 laser. You can see the figure, and then you can write down the description that a discharge tube having a bore of cross section of about 1.5 millimeter square and length about 260 millimeters is normally used for a medium output laser. That means the size of the bore will change, the length of the tube will change depending upon the output of the laser. At the same time, the power supply will also change. The gas mixture of CO2 and N2 and helium in a proportion of 1:2:3 is respectively, along with some water vapors, is filled inside the tube. Now why the water vapors? The water vapors are filled because to have collisional de-excitation by the walls of the tube, so that unwanted population inversion may not take place, as we have studied in the case of helium neon laser. The active centers are CO2 molecules analyzing between the vibrational levels of electronic ground state. Now we talk a little about the working of a CO2 laser. What happens? The pumping mechanism is important. Here the excited state of N2 molecules is metastable. That is, the N2 molecules impart energy to the CO2 molecules, that is the 001 vibrational level, by collisional excitation. and as the current passes through the mixture of the gas. The N2 molecules get excited, as I already told, interact with the CO2 molecules to impart energy to them. The process is known as collisional excitation. The transition takes place in the energy levels of CO2 molecules, and hence you get a laser. Only two transitions are possible, as we have already discussed, 9.6 micrometer and 10.06 micrometers. The efficiency of a laser, CO2 laser, is very high. The reason is that the used active medium is drawn out regularly and a fresh mixture of gases is pumped at regular intervals to maintain high power output laser in common mode. Now what does this mean? This means that if we compare a CO2 laser with other lasers, then we see that the number of active centers in other lasers was fixed, and that is why the excitation, and there was a limitation in the number of atoms excited to the upper energy levels, and there was a limitation in the number of stimulated emissions to happen. So once the emissions are completed, that is the total number of active centers in those lasers which have fixed active medium are completed, then you can have a definite output. But if you have, in case of a CO2 laser, what you can do, you can design the laser for a desired output, and that can be as high as 10 kilowatt. What I mean by 10 kilowatt, since it is in an IR region, a 10.6 micrometer laser, and the very high output power, that is 10 kilowatt, then that too in a continuous mode, so it can be used for metal cutting because the beam temperature is very high. Moreover, the laser can also be used for drilling and grinding. In case of drilling, the diameter has to be maintained. So the diameter of the laser spot has to be focused, and that is done with the help of selenium lenses which can withstand very high temperatures. Otherwise the normal lenses will be burnt out or melt. Thank you.